Welcome to the Building a Better You podcast, presented by the Garner Chamber of Commerce Young Professionals. I'm Nick Spindler with Community of Hope Ministries.
And I'm Chris Morgan with eXp Realty.
The goal of this podcast is to help young professionals develop and grow into successful business people in their communities.
In each episode, we will talk with local business leaders to provide strategies and tips to help our listeners.
So let's dive right in. All right, welcome to episode 1 of Building a Better You. We've got in studio with us today Dustin Williams, the Vice President of the Garner Chamber of Commerce. How you doing?
Doing good.
Dustin.
Glad to be in the closet with you two guys right now.
Oh, boy.
We'll explain where we're at later.
We are excited to have you on. We're excited to get this kicked off. But the question we have for you that we have to start with is, it is no secret that you one day would like to be the mayor of Garner. Is that right?
That's very true. That's a true statement.
So what we are asking is that when you decide to make that decision and publicly announce, we want the rights to host and broadcast that announcement from this podcast.
The whole shebang.
That sounds really good. I think
The
you should
whole
do that.
shebang.
I didn't know this would be a political forum,
Yes.
so I feel like I'm about to hit me with a Garner question, and I don't have my legal team here with me. I have my handler here with me.
No,
But yes, you have permission to do that.
Awesome. All
I
right.
love it. You heard it here, folks.
So that means go ahead and subscribe, because when he decides to announce, and he will announce at some point, it might be this year, it could be 10 years. I mean, he does have to move back to Garner before he can make it happen, but you know.
Yeah, I like to keep people on their toes. I'm like,
Hey.
it could be 5 years, it could be 25 years. I mean, I really don't know.
But,
It could happen any moment.
We got to move you back here first.
Yeah, that's true. So I know maybe there's some 2 real estate agents in the room right here. So yeah, I get that a lot. I got to move back to Garner, but I'm trying to see if I get residents here at the chamber or I get residents at the YMCA. One of those two should qualify for me to have Garner residents. So I'm seeing if I can apply for some kind of stipulation.
Well, we are in this wonderful walk-in closet. So.
Yeah.
This could be my bedroom.
Oh, my gosh. Please do not hang clothes in this closet.
Could get smelly in here.
Maybe we need to talk to Lindsay about that.
Oh gosh. Yeah, she does the laundry. I do the yard work. That's kind of the deal with
Oh,
it.
that's a good balance. That's a really good
It is.
balance.
And I do the dishes too. I don't do much cooking. She
Do
does
you
a lot.
really?
Yeah, I do.
Are you the type of dish person where you take the dishes, you'll clean them, and then put them in the dishwasher? Or are you just the ones where if they are messy, they're going straight into the dishwasher and let the dishwasher do the
No,
work?
I'm really weird. I actually hand wash them all, and I just do it all by hand, even though we have a dishwasher. It's a weird thing that I do. I don't know.
Okay. At least you have a system.
Yeah, there's a system. It's a little weird system, but I got a system.
I've got a hack for you that'll help you save some time in your life.
Oh, boy.
Put them in the dishwasher.
I know.
Put them in the dishwasher. And Lindsay,
It feels good to manually do that dish, though. I got that clean. A little wipe, and then I'm good.
Right, but Lindsay, if you're listening and you smell something funky in your closet, just know that Dustin hung up his dirty clothes and skipped the washing machine.
Yes.
So you'll just have to sniff out what shirt it is. But
As long as the dishes
that's the
are
smell
clean.
in your closet.
I mean, that's a good compromise, though. Clean dishes or dirty clothes in the closet?
There's a lot of compromises that get made at our house. That's another show we could do.
All right.
There's a lot of give and take in that relationship. Oh boy.
Well, we're off to a great start here on
Yes.
episode 1. If you're still listening, now, Dustin, you are the vice president of the Garner Chamber. So can you tell us a little bit about that, and what is your goal in that position?
Yeah, so been doing this for about a year and a half already, which sounds crazy. It doesn't feel like it's been, that long. So for me, like taking this job and this role, like I've just looked at it as almost like from a participant seat almost. So I was, with the YMCA for over 20 years, and as a participant of the chamber, I try to do my job from that lens as much as I can. Because again, a big part of this chamber is a successful chamber, is successful business environment we have here in Garner. So a lot of things that I do, I try to look at from what I remember being in the seat that many of our members are in, but also to the future of the new work world we're in, post-COVID, during COVID, all that was just kind of affected a lot of different things. But to me right now, just focused on relationships and building those in the area and just seeing how those relationships can grow. But yeah, just being part of the chamber is awesome because coming from the Y where I was helping people to this job, I'm still helping people. And so just being able to, do those things and translate that into someone maybe being a successful business owner or helping their business grow is really fun and really cool opportunity. So
I love that. I personally can say, based on knowing you since, oh man, fun fact, guys. I actually at the Y when Dustin worked at the Y, he actually hired me. So fun job for sure for
Was
both
it
of us.
Dustin or was it me?
No, it was well.
I did his interview.
Yeah,
I think
he
you
did my
finished. I
interview.
think you
Yeah.
finished. I think you finished
Credit.
it off.
Yes, yes. So I was like, I didn't. Yeah. Anyway, that was such a long time ago. But just from starting at the YMCA and working with you, seeing how you have grown from then to now is just like absolutely tremendous. Of like, hey, this is Dustin. This is who he is. This is where he wants to keep going within his career. And I just absolutely love that about you.
No, I appreciate that, Chris.
And seeing that side of you. But I can say for me, I'm a young professional. So you've been in my shoes, not career-wise, but as, a 26-year-old guy.
Right.
Starting out in your career. With the Young Professionals group, was that something that you wanted to do when you did this role at the chamber?
Well, that was one of the things you mentioned. COVID messed a lot of stuff up here. That was one of the things that COVID did mess up because we had got it going before, and then before COVID hit, and then COVID kind of wiped out the Young Professional group. So when you got here, you were super passionate about getting that going. So why was that?
Yeah, I'm a program guy. So as soon as I came into this job, I saw what we were doing in the past, what I wanted to do for the future, and so part of my job here is just to been, and me and Matthew have kind of done this. Is throw things at the wall, see what works. And I knew Young Professionals can work, but coming from a mindset that came from at the Y, like we always joke that everything's a program. So I wanted to make this a successful program, and I think it really started. To your question, Chris, I think it really just started from. I didn't know. I told this to other people. I didn't know what the Chamber of Commerce was until probably at least maybe 32, 33 years old, 41 years old now. I didn't know what that meant, what it was. And I look back on those years prior to being 33, 32, or however it was when I started here at the Chamber and helping out, of all the years I missed. And I want to get back and help folks that are younger than 33 or in this age group of that 21 to 39 bracket, which is the Young Professionals, opportunities to grow and thrive. And so I was lucky. Like the YMCA sent me to Chicago, California, Texas. I mean, you named a state, but I had the blessing and luxury of being part of one of the largest nonprofits in the country. And most people in Garner do not have that luxury where their business is going to send them to these conferences to get that leadership development. A lot of times I wouldn't have known where to serve if I wasn't working in a nonprofit. So that's a big part of this. And then also when you think about the networking side, I didn't really know how to network. I didn't know that was a thing until, like I said, until I really started doing this stuff and fundraising a lot more at my old job. So I think what's desperately needed right now is nothing like this is taught in college. And then when you get out of college, you just somehow have to think that they'll just magically learn that skill. And you can't magically learn that. And so how can we at the Chamber be a catalyst to that? So that's kind of what it started from.
And we always keep you young at heart, right?
Oh, yeah. It helps me stay in this group, too, which is great.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned not knowing about a Chamber of Commerce. My wife and I joke about all the time how funny it is. If you would have asked me 10 years ago, would you be part of a leadership team at a Chamber of Commerce? I would have been like, what are you even talking about?
Exactly.
And now here I am helping one start a podcast. I can absolutely resonate with that, of just having no idea what it was or even the resources that were out there to help me grow my career.
Yeah, I think that's what's needed. I mean, that's what I'm so passionate about, is that, a chamber, and our chamber here in Garner, will be known as innovative and being with the times, and things are changing. And, we all listen to music, and we all are getting information different ways. It's not the newspaper anymore. It's a lot of it's just, virtually and visually, and now through audio like this, like another way to hear what's going on in Garner. And that's probably the biggest thing I hear is I don't really know what's going on. And so, just want to plug in the young professionals to Garner. That's key for me. And that happens, then we're going to have even more successful chamber than we have now. So that's why I'm so passionate about that as well.
So one thing, thinking of having a successful chamber, that we've heard you talk about, outside of here, is trying to help bridge that gap between the young professionals and the seasoned professionals.
I like that word, bridge the gap.
Yeah, so
and seasoned. I like seasoned.
Bojangles seasoned?
Yeah, that's good too.
So what do you see as your role, or how would you like to bridge that gap to bring the young professionals and the seasoned professionals together so that they can glean from one another?
Yeah, I mean, we tried this, like a couple of things of that. I think last year we did our community service day. That wasn't last year, it was in the spring. So in the spring, doing a community service day and inviting all of our chamber members to that. And so that was a small turnout, but it's a great way. And I say this a lot here at the chamber, like building culture. So you're not going to have 100, 200 people show up on the first community service day, but that's one of the first times ever that I can remember. So I don't want to speak, but I'm pretty sure it's probably the only time that the chamber young professionals had a day like that where you're not working like in your job, you're actually helping the community. So that was a great way for people to get out of their office and connect. Coming up next month, we're going to have, and this is brand new, by the way, we're going to have basically like I call it trick or treat kind of type thing, try to make it funny with the YMCA, but everybody gets to talk about their trade and their job, and they get to go around, but inviting board members and ambassadors to that event. So I think there's ways that board members, ambassadors, or members can intersect with young professionals, and I think the more consistency and the more things we do in this group, it's just going to happen naturally. I don't even think I'm going to have to plan it. But there are ways that a young professional may not be part of a company that's in the chamber, and how can that company get to know what the chamber is through the young professional, and they're the leader. So that person could go back to their job and be like, hey, I learned this at the chamber, we should join. Yeah. That would be a great conversation, and that's, one of the reasons we're doing this is to provide more exposure to that. But I think I would love, that's my biggest goal right now, is I would love to see, one of the catalysts we did this past spring is that community service day really take off a life of its own, because we have over 600 businesses in the chamber right now. There's just no reason that we can't just have a huge day like that.
Gotcha.
And it's been really cool since the young professional group has got rebooted, just to see just how much passion and enthusiasm there is. And I know even though it's growing, there's just such a close-knit group that is growing, that is able to build one another up and learn from each other. So it's just really cool to be a part of that, and know that whenever I come to these events, it's going to help me professionally, whether it's something I'm learning or even just someone I'm networking with and meeting for the first time. I think it's been very helpful for me.
Yeah, I was like, I definitely had. This was actually a couple days ago. I met with Sarah. Yeah, I was like, we just grabbed coffee right here at the Moose Coffee Shop, and that was the best coffee meeting I have ever had with someone, because
I take offense to that. I've had a few coffee meetings. I know.
There's some great coffee meetings out there, but the crazy part about it was I didn't know what she does. She didn't know vice versa, and we were able to merge some ideas together, and it all happened because we were both a part of the young professionals group here in Garner.
Yeah.
Had no idea. I was like, and it was just great of being able to, like you said, networking with so many different folks that come and a part of this group, to be able to now go outside of this building, this actual building that we're in, to do other things and get creative.
And that makes it fun for me, because those are intangibles I don't know about, and a lot of times in my job I don't really know if what I'm doing is like making sense, But I think that's the best part about going to the first question you asked me about why I do the chamber. I mean. Hopefully whenever I leave one day to do this do another job or whatever the job is, like it's a culture of like relationships have been built and there's trust that's been done, and you really are not asking for someone to sponsor or asking for someone to join the chamber or renew their membership. It's already happening, and that's the goal, so it's awesome.
And I think one thing as a young professional, it can be nerve-wracking is, we're talking about how to merge the young professionals with the seasoned professionals. And I think sometimes, like, as a young professional, that can just be scary. Like, oh, I got to go to this event and network with these people that have been in the Garner community for 20 to 30 longer years. Like, that is just completely intimidating. And so in the young professional setting, it kind of gives people a chance to practice, learn, develop those skills, and then take them and apply them in those new situations where it's not as big, as scary, because the seasoned professionals, they're not big scary people. They're not anybody to be afraid of, but like you can just get so in your head about it because you're the new kid on the block, you're the young one.
Yep, definitely. I think and that's a lot of times, like, that's what's great about the young professionals group is like, and even this job I'm doing right now, everybody's a human being, and I think it's just knowing when you're talking to someone, they're just like us. And I think the more ways that I can get opportunities for the young professionals to intersect, I'm using that travel word, intersection, but it really is just, it doesn't happen unless that person applies themselves. So how do I figure out ways to make the application so much easier? And it's not so obvious. I think sometimes oh yeah, like, Nick and Chris, this person, and you don't. And so that's where the chamber should be, leading the way and hoping, advocating for you guys to have that relationship, and then you take it from there. So
I love it. I always call the chamber like a resource, and that's my biggest thing there is for me in my business. I always say the same thing. Yeah, I don't care if you buy or sell real estate with me, but if you need someone else, I would love to provide that resource for you guys. So, and that's why chamber, man, y'all got to get on it.
Well, and I'll be real. You hear all these people talking about, there's like all these networking groups out there. There's this one, the BNI or whatever it stands for, all this, all that. You pay your money, you go eat breakfast every week. And like, that's kind of cool. But like, to me, the chamber has been a huge resource like that. And, I don't have to be at a breakfast at 8:00 every morning, every week, or those kind of things. And there's just, what you said, there's over 600 members or something like that. So it's just a huge network to be plugged into and have lots of resources.
Yeah. Yep. What is your with the young professionals group though? What is your goal?
I really don't think about it from a number side. It's almost like what you just said about you just met with Sarah and you had this conversation. That would have never happened without this group. And so I'm not really too focused on that. It's more of, I think right now, how to rescue you guys from your jobs. I mean, our events have gone down a little bit in size, but people still love what's going on, but they've gone down because a lot of times I hear like, I don't have enough staff or I'm covering for this person. And so that's really what I'm focused on is how to present this product that we have right now to the supervisors and folks that are making decisions for sometimes you guys to be in this group, to see the value, to see the data, and to see like what's actually happening here. I think that's the thing I'm most focused on besides the numbers, because I think that's just going to build itself. Is just over time it's going to sell from, I had a great connection, or I had this coffee and it presented this. I think that's going to sell itself.
And just so our viewers are listening, Sarah is another young professional group member, and she works for an insurance company. So just so in case y'all are like, who is Sarah? Well, that's who Sarah is.
Yep. So come to one of our young professionals group. You can meet her in person too.
Yes.
So on Building a Better You, one of the things we plan on doing is we're going to have 2 questions that we ask every guest to kind of wrap things up. And so the first one that we want to ask is, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Yeah, so one plug would be definitely have a mentor. So if you don't have a mentor, and usually I tell people it needs to be someone that's not in your job, your actual job, or your own company, but to have someone to lean on to. But I think, like, I don't even know, I think I got this from a conference because I got lucky, like I said, to go to different stuff. But I remember hearing, and I think this is why I'm so blunt with people and I'm so like honest and stuff, is that I remember hearing someone say most of the conversations that you think the other person has, so if you were like mad at someone or you were wanting to approach someone, most of those things that are in their head, that's not going to happen in that conversation. It's never going to happen. And 90% of the time, they're not going to be angry, or they're not going to say this specific thing to you. And so just hearing that I need to stop worried about what others are thinking or how they'll respond, and just present the honesty, I think is some of the best advice I've gotten, because a lot of times I'll go into that and I'm like, that conversation really wasn't as hard as I thought, or how I built it up to be.
Yeah.
And that really goes into the networking we do in your life, and just relationships. As the more you avoid something, the worse it's going to be. And so sometimes it's hard to deliver that, but a lot of times with the other person, how you think they'll perceive it, it's usually doesn't go the same way that you maybe think it does.
I'm so bad about that. Like I will have conversations in my head, like knowing I have to talk to somebody, and like I'll have that conversation a million times. I'll be like, all right, and this is what they're gonna say, and then I'm like, come back right with this, or and I'll play it out, and like you said, then I go have that conversation. I'm like, man, none of that stuff I thought of in my head actually played out. Like it was nothing like that. It was easy.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah, I think like too with that is like just being yourself. I think a lot of times like those conversations get so bad is because all of a sudden you got a script that you might have read prior, and then you're telling that person that, and it's like it's not even a natural convo. But I think that's where a lot of times people miss out, and that's why this young professional group is so good, is that I think people are missing out on opportunities to have fun because they're scared about what someone's going to think of them, or they don't know who else is going to be there, and I think the more that you have those thoughts and conversations in your head about what you think this is or what that's going to be, I mean, you're really just doing a disservice to yourself. So I think just, approaching everything with that side of like, okay, like I need to give this a try. And that's the only way you're going to grow your career is to throw yourself out there and do things that you may not like, and there's many things that I do, every week that I don't like, but it's got to make yourself better. So
I love that. I'll ask the second question if that's okay. The second question is, what is one thing you utilize every day to help better yourself?
Yeah, so for that one, I mean, it's funny, like, I'll start with this first day. Like, one is like exercise. So like I left the Y. I don't have a gym here. I had the luxury of having a gym outside my office for 20 years. And for me, like just getting outside is a huge thing. That kind of started in the pandemic. Like I never was a walker or a runner. And I really don't run, so I don't want to say I'm a runner, but I do try to like I try to like run like a mile nonstop without like dying, and so I do that sometimes. But trying to like move and get myself active, and usually I do this at night, just because me and my wife will rotate, and she does the morning, and I usually do the after bedtime walk, so like 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8 to 9, something like that. And a lot of times, like either I listen to a podcast or I listen to music, or sometimes I just don't do anything but walk and just like get away from like social media that I have to do in my job every day to just everything in life, the news, everything. And so I do that. And then hobbies are huge. And so like I joked about this, like all of a sudden I've got this card hobby that I have now, and that really spurned from like getting my mind off of my job and also like my day-to-day of being a dad and a husband, because those are all important jobs, but at the same time, you got to have a little bit of me time, not you time like Scotty has, but a little bit of me time. And my pastor actually talked about this yesterday, but having me time is so important, and it gets your mind right. And so, like, if I can focus on, having fun buying cards or trading cards or whatever the situation is. This is baseball cards, not actual like Valentine's Day cards.
I'm sorry, cards.
These are baseball cards. And just having fun, being like a kid. Like, I mean, that's what I did as a kid. I still play video games from time to time, but now this card hobby's taking over. But a lot of people don't know that about me.
You play video games?
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh, he's huge into like the NBA 2Ks and all those. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What system?
Xbox Series X. But I think that's what's fun, and that's why it's like I like to share with people. It's like I'm a human being, so like a lot of times at night, like I got to disconnect. And so, me and my wife will watch a Netflix show or we'll watch something together, but a lot of stuff doesn't like match up. And sometimes I just don't want to watch a show. I just want to like not think about something.
Yeah.
And video games or a hobby are really good. And this hobby that I have with the cards thing is really taken off to a side of like I met some really cool people from this, and it's also like the business side of now with the chamber has crossed over into this hobby where it's like I've got a little competitive with this, and like I've got an Instagram page that I keep growing, and I do that every day. But just to build it up as a thing of like, we don't have a card shop in Garner. So if anybody's listening, would love to have a conversation with someone that would like to open a card shop in Garner, because Chris and Nick, we actually had, I think, at least 3. At one time in the 80s and 90s, there were 4 card shops in a town of less than 10,000 people. And we have 35,000 people moving to 50. There's no way we don't have a card shop in Garner. So,
are you going to bring back Pogs too?
No, Pogs will not be brought back. But if someone would like to bring those in, yes. But Pogs will not be. Pogs will not be back. But I do.
Come on, I want to buy some slammers from you.
Come on now.
Hey, but if it sells, hey, from a business side, anything that works. But yeah, I think it's important just to share with everybody. Like, you gotta have a way to disconnect. Work can't be life. I hear it all the time. You gotta grind and you gotta put this work in. You see these people on YouTube and Instagram and these motivational people, sometimes they get a little carried away with, you got to grind it and you got to do this every day. Yeah, you do, but you also got to get away and step away and put the phone down and whatever, and just get focused on yourself. Because if you don't better yourself, especially from a health side, if you don't look into your health, like it's not going to be around to do your job. So, and you're also not going to be clearly thinking to have those critical conversations and other work that you do. So, but yeah, I got hobbies, so let me know. You can follow me at Old Man Style Cards on Instagram. Just a little plug there too. So
there you go.
Yes,
well, awesome.
I love that.
Thank you so much for joining us on episode 1.
I know, right? Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
That's
going.
What I'm talking about.
It's off to a good start. So if you came out of chamber, it's actually like what time is it right now? It's 4:42 right now. You came out of chamber, the door's locked. We were in this closet in the chamber recording the first podcast, but there's actually work being done here.
We are working. We're working hard.
Just don't try to find the closet. It's fine.
Yeah. So y'all, if you're listening, definitely be part of Young Professionals. Feel free to reach out to me. Very accessible here at the chamber. That's one perk we have here at this chamber is you ain't got to go through somebody to get to somebody. Like if you got to get up with me, you can find me or I'll find you. But just here to be a resource and help. And then with Garner growing from the area, and so that's a big plug as far as why I did this job too, is I want Garner to continue to grow and knowing the history, like I just said, like about having 4 card shops here, now there's 0. There's got to be someone out there that's like, yes, I want to open this card shop. How can you help me? And I've got many resources like we just talked about earlier in this podcast to give you and make it as easy as possible.
We'll throw a link to the Young Professional Group in the episode notes, and we'll also throw your contact information in there as well. But for all you guys listening, thank you so much for listening to Building a Better You. If you could, I hate to say this, but please go rate and review and subscribe to this. The only reason I say that is because it helps with the algorithms and helps it get out to more people. So if you guys could do that, we would appreciate it. 5 stars only. If it's 1 star, then you can use Dustin email and send him a note and tell him how bad we are. But if it's 5 stars, go ahead and put it up there. But thank y'all so much for tuning in, and we'll see y'all in a couple weeks.
You got it.
Yeah. So
boom.
Yep,
There
boom.
you go. There it is.
Check.
Yep. Ooh,
So
he about
but
to
I
break
would
it
say
down. He about to do some vanilla.
You probably want to try to be like.
We got some vanilla ice about to happen over here.
Might get hot in this room though. It's starting to get a little hot in here. Might get a fan up here, like a little fan blowing up top.
That's crazy. It's only you, Nick.
Say it again, Dustin.
Pants and people.
See?
Yeah, apparently I'm the popper.
Yeah.